It is week 13 of the NFL season. We have two parlays cooked up for you guys that I think are going to smack on Sunday. As always, it's Austin joined by Logan. Last week, Logan delivered a winner on Thanksgiving. I delivered a winner on Sunday. Let's see if we can combine forces and get it done. A reminder, if you go down into the description and you are betting on FanDuel, we have a quick link for you to add in all the legs for each of our parlays. And for all the psychos out there, we have a parlay with all 11 legs of our parlay that we're going to talk about today. And if that one hits, we're giving away $250. Just hit that subscribe button down below. I think it turns $10 into over $465. Really cool payout. But either way, Logan, I'm going to go off and lead this one first because I got a winner last week. And let's dive into my legs. I'm going to throw them all up on the side of the screen and break it down leg by leg. I'm going to have some weight over the legs I haven't talked about because we got to build up some suspense. But let's start with my first two legs. And we are going to go to two running backs on the same team. We're going to Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris, each to record 40-plus rushing yards. Now, when I sent Logan my parlay, he said it was already lost on the first two legs. So if that tells you anything, Logan's a fade. They're both getting 40-plus in the first half. Now, there are some people out there on the Bet365 apps that maybe only have 50-plus rushing yards as an option. I like Najee a little bit more for 50-plus than I do Warren, although I do think this is a matchup. They both could get 50-plus. That's kind of a lot of rushing yards for two guys on the same team. So I would probably, if you are only have the option, I would take Najee for 50, probably Warren for only 25. Now, backing two guys to get 40-plus on the same team is kind of bold, but last week they did just that, and that's under their new offensive coordinator. And wouldn't you know, the Steelers offense actually looked good last week. What's crazy? I know we haven't seen them look good all season long, but in that game, they made an effort to give the ball to their running backs. Najee, 15 carries for 99 yards, a great game for him. And then Warren only had 13 carries, great workload, but only 49 yards, averages 3.8 yards per carry. I expect him to be better than that because he's averaging 5.8 on the season. This is obviously two guys they want to get the ball heavily, and this is a game that I think will have good game script as they're 6.5-point favorites at home against the Cardinals, a team that is allowing 4.5 yards per carry, the seventh highest in the league. I really like both these two guys. I couldn't decide which one I would take, in terms of the regular over, but I really think this is worth a unit on its regular play, and maybe it will be one of my regular plays in the player props video. I'm recording this before I cook up all of those, but I really like both these guys to get 40 plus. Now, my third and fourth leg is going to go to another same game parlay. In my parlay, I've kind of broke down three same game parlays, two legs in each of them. This next one's going to the Lions game. I'm back in two Lions. Sam Laporta to get 25 plus receiving yards and David Montgomery 40 plus rushing yards. Now, this alone is just minus 132. Don't hate the value there, and the hit rates are very good for each of these two players. And you look at Laporta, 25 plus receiving yards in 10 of 11 games. His only miss was a rare 18-yard performance versus the Bears. Like, this is a guy that just has a great connection in his rookie season with Jared Goff. I don't expect Goff to really, on the road, want to throw the ball too far deep down the field. Probably want to be a little bit conservative, given he's had, 3 turnovers, I think, in the past 2 games. So I think the ball will come out of his hands quick, and that normally goes to Laporta, who's a guy that's kind of chilling in the flats, maybe going up the seam here and there, but I like the matchup for him against the Saints. And then David Montgomery on the other side is their lead back, and I really like him for 50-plus rushing yards. A spoiler alert, that's going to be one of my plays that we'll have in the NFL player props video, which we posted on Saturday. You can definitely go check that out. But Montgomery, I like him for 40-plus, like him for 50-plus. I mean, he has 40-plus rushing yards in 7 of 8. His only miss was a game he got injured in. I can't control injuries, but this is actually what used to be a bad matchup against the Saints running the football is turning into a really good one. They are giving up the 6th most yards per carry. This is the Lions team on the road. Jared Goff a little bit struggling the last few games. I expect them to lean on the run, and David Montgomery is that guy for him. So I really like David Montgomery in this spot for 40-plus rushing yards. Then my 5th and 6th leg is going to arguably the biggest game of the weekend, 49ers versus Eagles. I'm backing 2 pass catchers, and we're talking about A.J. Brown, 60-plus receiving yards, and Christian McCaffrey, 25-plus receiving yards. Now, obviously, McCaffrey is a running back, but we know how heavily he is used in the receiving role, and we're talking about A.J. Brown, which I'll give you a spoiler alert. Logan, it has A.J. Brown in his too, so knock on wood, we cross your fingers. We need a good A.J. Brown performance, but we really do think it, which is why when you say, hey, why is there only 11 legs? When you see Logan talk about 12, it's because we're not putting A.J. Brown in there twice, which Logan will touch on him in a little bit, but I'm sure Logan can agree with me. A.J. Brown due for a good game. I mean, 2 bad games. One, just an absolute stinker. Last game, 5 receptions, 9 targets, only like 40 yards, 37 yards. I think he gets back on track in a matchup against the 49ers. We know how good they are at stopping the run. They're going to have to throw the football on the wall. Charvarius Ward played really well last week versus DK Metcalf. I think that's more of a fluke than anything. A.J. Brown's a beast. I think he comes out here and plays pretty well. And we'll also wouldn't be surprised if he texted Metcalf for some tips. These guys are close friends too. So, look, we know how talented A.J. Brown is. He had 60-plus receiving yards in 8 of his last 9 prior to these last 2 duds. I think he gets back on track. And then CMC, we know how heavily he is used in the receiving role. 25-plus receiving yards in 7 of his last 8. is coming off 2 games where he made you sweat. And Logan can attest to this because he had him for 25 plus receiving yards on Thanksgiving. He's ended with 25 on the dot and 2 straight. Like, I don't care how he gets there. If he wants to land there on the dot, whatever. But this is a better matchup for him for receiving the ball. We know how talented the Eagles, front seven is. I think they want to get CMC out on the perimeter against those linebackers, make them tackle. I think that's going to be a great spot for CMC. So overall, you see my full parlay, plus 728, 2036, something along those lines. I really like it. I'm just showing you what $10 looks like on it, but I really like my 6-legger. I cashed on Sunday. I'm cashing again this Sunday. Hopefully mine smacks. But Logan, and as always, a quick link is down below if you just want to tail mine. But Logan, a quick link is down below for yours too. What are you going with on Sunday for all the people out there that we'll be combining into our combined parlay? What you got?
I like how you let it off. I really do like your parlay. I think it stands a really good chance of cashing, as does mine. Let's talk about my legs. First leg, Terry McLaurin, a guy who helped us out on Thanksgiving. I'm taking him 40-plus receiving yards. Terry has 40-plus receiving yards in 10 out of 12 games this year. The hit rate is just there. He's a very, very talented receiver, and especially in negative game script, which they definitely could be against Miami. This game could be, could have a shootout potential. Terry only had 50 yards last week, but 11 targets. I'll take my chances, with Terry because he just gets a bulk load of the receiving work. And I think he stands a really good chance at getting us 40 yards, as does the second leg, Jalen Waddle in the same game, 50-plus receiving yards. Yeah, I slipped up and said Warren. I've been thinking about Austin's pick. But Waddle has 50-plus in 5 out of his last 6 games. He's really coming on as of late. He had an 8-catch on 8-target game for 114 yards. They'll look to keep him hot in this game. I really think they're working Waddle back into there. And we know how much attention Tyreek Hill always commands. It would not surprise me at all if the Commanders are saying, you know what, we got to take away Tyreek Hill, got to make Jalen Waddle beat us. I think Jalen Waddle is definitely poised to have a decent game there. Now let's go to the third leg. We're going to a quarterback, and I'm taking Justin Herbert of the Chargers, 225 plus passing yards. Now look, Herbert's coming off a pedestrian game, 217 yards versus Baltimore. That's really not what he's capable of. Now he gets the terrible New England defense. New England has not really shown me anything that makes me scared of them. And the Chargers refuse to commit to the run. I told you guys, it's what they do. They could be up and they're still throwing the ball. The attempts will be there. Can the yards be there? And I do think so. As I mentioned, he had a bad week last week. A guy like Justin Herbert is usually poised to bounce back, especially with the weapons he has on the perimeter. Let's go to the fourth leg. I'm going back to another pass catcher. Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions, 70-plus receiving yards. This guy is just a beast. St. Brown has 70-plus reception yards in all but one game this year. He's been Goff's favorite target by a mile, and St. Brown has he's a double-digit target guy, 11 targets in back-to-back games. As I mentioned, guys, you're getting double-digit targets. I'm going to take you for what makes sense in yardage-wise. And the hit rate for Amon-Ra is definitely there. And we know St. Brown is Goff's security blanket. As Austin kind of touched on, Lions offense on the road in New Orleans. Goff is one of those guys that wants, he wants those check down type guys. He wants those security blankets. Amon-Ra St. Brown is always open, and I think he gets a lot of work in that game. Let's go to another pass catcher for our fifth leg. This guy who burned us last week, Adam Thielen. I'm taking him 5+ receptions. Now this leg, was a loser last week. Heartbreaker, because Thielen has 5+ receptions in 9 out of 11 games this year. I was like, oh, the hit rate is surely there. So I'm not going to be deterred by what I saw last week, because what I saw last week was a combination of a few things. Terrible Panthers offense. Well, Frank Reich now gone. And Thielen was also double teamed the whole game versus Tennessee. They were just bracketing him. They were following 2 guys on him. They were not letting him catch the ball. They were making the other Panthers receivers step up and beat him. I don't think the Tampa Bay's defense is necessarily going to do that. I just don't think you can commit that much potential coverage to Adam Thielen. I think that was more of an anomaly. The Titans decided to play Thielen like that. Really doubt we see the Buccaneers do the same. And as I mentioned before, the only reliable option for Bryce Young in this wide receivers room is Adam Thielen. The other guys just can't get open, can't get separation. I think Adam Thielen gets 5+ receptions. There's a reason why he's just been an absolute receptions and a target hog for this bad Panthers team. But let's go to a 6 leg on a good team. Let's end on a good note. AJ Brown of the Eagles, 50 plus receiving yards. As Austin mentioned, he's taking him for 60. I wanted to play it a little bit more safe and take him for 50 plus because Brown, he was quiet most of the game last week and still finished with 37 yards. To me, that's very encouraging, because he was coming off a bad game prior, and he's finally kind of hovering around the 50-yard mark, which is what I need to see. The conditions last week were absolutely terrible, and yet he still almost got 50. Prior to the last 2 weeks, though, Brown had 50 plus in 8 out of his first 9 games. There's a good chance this cashes by halftime. I really do think it stands a really good chance at cashing, and that as you can see on the screen, that concludes the plus 640 odds parlay on FanDuel. As Austin mentioned, go down, hit the quick link so you don't have to type in all these legs. But Austin, I think we stand a really good chance at both double cashing this week.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if we cash that 11-leg parlay, that would be electric. Obviously, you can tail just one or the other. Both those quick links are down below, but also there's a quick link for all our psychos out there that are trying to roll with something on Sunday. We just went up to 60-plus receiving yards for A.J. Brown instead of the 50-plus, but you can obviously do whatever you want. But let's have a wonderful Sunday. I'll have our player props video, which we're on a hot streak right now, an 11-2 run over there. I'll link that on the screen once that video is live. You guys have a great Sunday. Let's cash this long shot parlay, and if we do cash both of ours, we'll give away $250. Just hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 200,000 subscribers. Only 10K away from that. It's Austin Logan signing out. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you guys back in the next one. Peace.